Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Thousands of young people from across New England are competing this month at the Eastern States Exposition in West Springfield, Massachusetts. And that includes hundreds of young Vermonters in the UVM Extension 4-H program. Eastern States, also known as the Big E, is our region's largest agricultural fair, and the 4-H youth have worked hard all summer long to get there. In addition to agricultural shows and competitions, talented 4-H kids take to the Big E stage to perform music and present their educational exhibits to the more than 1.5 million people who attend the Big E. As we showed you last week, a 4-H'er from Morrisville took home the top prize in the Big E's Dairy Show. Today we meet another talented member of Vermont 4-H Dairy Team.
My name is Jonathan Flores, and I live in Addison, Vermont.
Jonathan, what is it that you were doing or participating in down here at the Big E?
I am participating in the dairy show with my 2-year-old cow.
And what is it you need to do in the dairy show with your cow?
I need to show her off the best of her abilities.
So what are the things the judges are looking for?
Depth of rib, long thing through the neck, and stuff like that.
So these are all things that you've had to learn.
Yeah.
An easy process?
It takes a few years still to master it, but no one's perfect at it.
What did the judge say as she made comments and came over to you?
She said my halter was a little too big for my cow, and she was misbehaving a little bit, but besides that, I did great.
What have been the accomplishments that you've had in the past year?
I got Grand Champion, Best Ashier of Show, Reserve Grand Champion.
They're down here representing Vermont, Vermont 4-H, Vermont Extension to the best of their abilities, and we've had a successful weekend with their endeavors.
Outside the show ring, what are other responsibilities that you have here at Eastern States?
Keeping your show box clean, raking the aisle, keeping hay in front of your animal, make sure they're drinking water, walking them, making exercise, stuff like that.
What does it mean to you to be part of 4-H?
Just spending time with friends and family, hanging out with my passion with cows. If you want to experience showing cows, don't be afraid to, because it's fun and you get to be with your friends and family, and it's enjoyable and super fun.
I have seen such tremendous growth in Jonathan. I am so impressed by him on how far he's come and what the program's done for him and what he's done for our program. He's a great example from Addison County being down here representing Vermont.
What happens next?
I will work with her, keep working with her for next year, and I will prepare her child, her calf to show next year, and hopefully come here with her baby.
Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
4-H shows and competitions continue this week at the Big E, which runs through September 30th. For schedules and more information about the fair, go online, thebige.com. Many dairy farmers here at home are implementing the required agricultural practices that were set in law in 2016. For some farmers, doing what's required has led to questions about whether they could afford to stay in business. Over a year ago, Across the Fence introduced you to a Colchester dairy farmer, Norman Tebow. At the time, Tebow was trying to figure out what to do. Across the Fence's Keith Silva recently went back to the Tebow farm and found some big changes.
Something big is going up at the Robert and Norman Tebow farm in Colchester.
Didn't sound big when they did the cement work, but when the tank went in, it's like, whoa, you know, you got 1.3 million gallons there. So, but we have a lot of water issue that collects. We're sitting in the hole and there's nowhere to push the water to, so we got to collect it.
When it's finished, this tank will store manure, milkhouse waste, and water runoff from the barnyard and feed barns. This project is the first step to bring Tebow's farm into compliance with the required agricultural practices enacted by the Vermont legislature in 2016.
Phase 1's almost done. We still got to do the hopper housing by the barn, fill that in, dig a hole, pour concrete, put the pump in, build a building around it, and I still got to seed down around the tank and all that, and that phase will be done, and hopefully later on, early fall, we'll start our barnyard, but we'll finish one at a time first.
Thibault knows this is only one beginning of many. More to the point, the work doesn't stop even when this project is completed.
Pressure is starting to get off my back, tank is up. I'll get the pump hopefully this coming week. We can put the pump housing in and the building, then take a little bit of a break before our barnyard here, and so try to, like I say, we still got to do our little work, the hang and everything else.
Oh, so the farming doesn't stop?
No, the farming doesn't stop. No, that keeps going.
Continuous, steady, constant. Words that describe the life of a dairy farmer and this farm family. When Across the Fence first reported on this story last August, we started with some history.
How long has your family been here?
The early 1900s. 1918, I think my grandfather started.
The Thibauts raised 200 cows on about 300 acres. They are one of 3 remaining dairy farms in Colchester. The majority of the farm's acreage is on river bottom land, so it's classified as a floodplain. Any nutrient runoff not absorbed by the land is apt to go right into the Winooski River or Lake Champlain. A couple of years ago, Thibault decided to make improvements to his barnyard and to change how he handles manure, milkhouse waste, and stormwater. He started working on a plan with NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service.
Try to make something simple. We had Danny Pete from NRCS come over, and something small became a big project, an expensive project, and to make things cleaner and make it easier for us, we went along with it, and I figured, $200,000 around there, and it came 3 times that plus.
So what happened? Well, while Thibault was planning the upgrades to his farm, a new law went into effect in Vermont, the Required Agricultural Practices, or RAPS. This new law sets standards to manure application, restricts some farming in floodplain areas, and requires all farmers to have a comprehensive nutrient management plan. Before the law, Thibault could have tackled his project piecemeal over several years. But in order to be in compliance with RAPS, he's going to have to move up his timetable and finish his project within a year's time or face financial penalties.
What you see out here is going to change completely?
Yeah.
The gutter cleaner.
Tony Kitsos is a farm management educator with UVM Extension.
The cost of doing business has just gone up. If you don't have the infrastructure in place on your farm to farm the way the RAPS want you to farm, you've got to be able to make that investment. There are farms right now where we're having that difficult conversation that says if you don't have the money to put in your 10% share of the total cost of this project, you need to think about possibly exiting. That's a difficult conversation to have.
The price paid to farmers for their milk has been in decline for over a year and a half, so coming up with the money right now is a challenge. Add to that the changes Thibault has to make don't improve his farm's bottom line.
It doesn't add value to the farm.
It doesn't.
It doesn't add value, no. It's going to help better manage, make things a little bit easier, in the wintertime. Clean the barn, it's in the storage, you don't have to remove manure, less handling. I think it's time saving, I'm hoping.
But it doesn't improve the bottom
value of the farm. No.
Thibault has decided to move ahead with this project. NRCS is going to help with the cost share, so Thibault's contribution will be 10% of $600,000. It's true that these improvements don't add value to his business, but they do improve the value of Vermont.
It's going to help, keep the manure out of the streams. Yes, helping the lake and clean up the water quality.
Today, you cannot afford not to do this.
UVM Extension has been working with farmers to improve their land management through practices like cover cropping and no-till planting. Kitsos and his colleagues held workshops earlier this year to help farmers navigate the law and to understand their rights.
There's not a farmer out there that I run across that does not want to do their job responsibly. Everyone does. My responsibility is to help farms who want that help to deal with the infrastructure side of things, the sort of the large cost manure handling projects. This one is going to cost upwards of $600,000 total now. Certainly money that a farmer doesn't have in a checkbook of this size to write that check. It's also a comprehensive look at where the alternative funding sources are going to come from the federal government and state government. There are some good programs out there. And combining all these resources, bringing it together and saying, here's the package, the financial package that we think can get this project going.
The Thibeault family has been farming in Colchester for generations, and Norman Thibeault expects that will continue.
Did it ever cross your mind that this is just too much?
Yes and no. I mean, you've got time. I mean, I got plenty of life left, I hope. And like the older farmers, you know, they either got bigger, got bull tanks, or got out. And that's where we are now. Move forward, improve, or get out. So farmers are in that situation now, I believe, is, you know, you got to change. And it's something that you have to adapt to and work with it. Every farmer is going to be different. It may work for me, it may not work for another farm. The soils I have, it works. And I'm making it work.
Now that this project is off the ground, quite literally, Thibeault feels better than he did last year. But as with any project, there were unexpected costs, which have tempered his enthusiasm.
Still nerve-wracking, you know, you wake up that night and think about it. Took out more fill, topsoil, and dirt, and had to bring in more and compaction, dozer work and all that. So it was an extra, you know, $12,000, $13,000 extra that didn't expect. But it's done with now and keep moving forward.
The funding Thibeault received to pay for this project from NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, is reimbursed once each phase is complete. In the meantime, Thibeault's footing the bill. As for the added expenses, he sees it as the cost of doing business.
There's something always going to come up. Every situation is going to be different. You know, me had a lot more topsoil they had to remove and bring in more fill. You know, somebody might have ledge or they have to raise it up. I don't know, you know. Every project can be different.
The tank is 112 feet in diameter. If it was stood on end, it would be about as tall as a 4-story building. And as for the walls, they're 19 feet tall. For now.
We can grow this on 2 more panels high. We can go up with it, 2 more. So this one will be easier to expand compared to a hole in the ground.
For Thibeault, it's upward and onward. For this project, his farm, and in the protection of natural resources.
We'll keep all the water issue out, and hopefully everything will be pumped in there when everything's done, and make it easier in the wintertime and not have to haul manure, move manure around, and all that, and so we can concentrate on doing other work.
For 100 years now, there's been work for the Thibeault family here on the farm. And now that this other work is finished, they'll be able to continue farming here, right where they've always been. In Colchester, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
And a footnote, the pumps are now online and the tank is in operation. That's our program for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.